Good afternoon, dear colleagues. We continue our working day. As always, at this time, Colonel Lysenko, spokesperson of ATO, he will inform us about ATO and the situation in the East. Good afternoon, dear colleagues. The situation in ATO area is stable and tense. Military armed provocations or militant don't stop on the line of separation from the Azov Sea up to villages on Bakhmutska highway. But the facts of using cannons and armed vehicles were not found. The place of the biggest opposition was yesterday near Horlevka, around 12 midday near Mayorska. There was a battle between Ukrainian border guards and intelligence group of 10 people. Because of good actions of our soldiers, they stopped the group of enemy, and nobody was wounded or died. During the last day, because of military activities, we don't have dead, only 3 wounded. According to operational information, leaders of DNR state that humanitarian assistance from Russia that arrives to occupy Donbass in the majority of cases is stolen away and it doesn't reach local people. At the same time, in the shops, there are a lot of Russian goods. But humanitarian problems of terrorists, that's not something they care about. In Donetsk, militants have filtration work. They became very active in that, and they wanted to find local people who have pro-Ukrainian mood. Armed forces of Ukraine continue broad trainings, a lot of trainings. On one of the test fields in the Dnipropetrovsk region, there was a 2-day conference, and officers were able to share experience of combats in ATO area. During that conference, they had exercises and they used different weapons. They used mortars, propelled artillery, and armored vehicles. And participants of the conference they were introduced to modern drones and other technical devices for more efficient battles. One of them is anti-aircraft with remote control. Anti-aircraft system. Ukraine respects its soldiers who President of Ukraine, Petro Poroshenko, signed a decree to award Lieutenant Colonel of Yuri Kovalenko with Order Golden Star and with the name Hero of Ukraine posthumously. The officer did implemented tasks in ATO and in the Donetsk region, and personally destroyed militants and weapons of militants. Last July, together with his unit, intelligence units, they broke through the gang of militants in Izvarino, Luhansk district. In one of the battles, Ukrainian officer saved a soldier who was wounded last summer during a battle. He was wounded. He had a lethal wound. During the trip to Ternopil region yesterday, Petro Poroshenko to Captain Merzlikin, he awarded him with Bogdan Khmelnytsky award. The captain was a real hero during the battles near Zolotopila last year in July, and he was responsible for part of border. They got under Russian Grad's fire. Despite of wounds and 30 operations, strong spirit helped the officer to survive and to return back home. Now the veteran recreates, and also he's working on mobilization in the local enlistment office. Ukraine special forces continue arresting pro-Russian bandits. In Kharkiv region, they arrested a militant from DNR who was returned from Ukraine to Ukraine from Russian Federation. For dirty work, he was promised a very good award. He was wounded, but he did not get any money. Here is a video of interview and he will tell you why he changed his mind. They promised money, but so I decided to stay in Russia and then go home. Then Ukrainian police arrested me. Donetsk police continues investigation of the killing SBU Sokol officer Vitaly Mandrik, who's an officer. He died on February 27. They were trying to arrest the group. The Mykola Renenko, the leader of the gang, he was trained in Rostom-na-Donu in a special school for infiltrators. He killed himself when there were efforts to arrest him. Then the head of the staff of education institutions, he who produced explosives for terrorist attacks in Mariupol. Infiltrators rented a house in the private sector, and there were about 10 kilos of explosive matter, ammonite. They used it to produce explosive devices. Ammonite, that is the substance which is used for explosive explosions in mines. During investigation, it was found that a woman who came in December 2014 at the request of DNR in order to collect information and to inform about movements of Ukrainian armed forces, military. The mine is military engineers. They destroyed more than 1,000 of shells and explosive devices and mines, grenades, anti-tank mines and artillery shells. The majority of explosive devices are utilized, and they are not of any threat to people. Local people in time are warned, but when explosives are destroyed to make it as secure as possible for people. Ukrainian patriots help our military men. Yesterday, bank clerks gave assistance to local hospital and to a military unit. They bought medical backsacks and medicine and for the first aid. Also, a hospital to receive from that medical equipment which is necessary for rehabilitation of wounded in ETO. Today we continue telling about our defenders who serve in Krymsk. National Guard, with the nickname musician, came from Prague to defend his motherland from a Russian aggressor. He was in the first among the first volunteers who, with great efforts, were stopping the enemy in his Dnipropetrovsk. His wife and his friends are there. He will not allow any of them will face war. Now the musician is during the second rotation. After vacation, he came back to Krymsk, Donetsk region. A lot of his friends returned back, and today they are on different checkpoints, but they communicate, they call each other, and sometimes they visit each other, and in case there is a need, they provide assistance. Relations with local people were not good at the beginning, but in the process of service, everything became fine. He's sure that only because of the support and mutual support, we can achieve a peace and agreement. Your questions, please. Ukraine channel. Today there was information that DNR is planning provocations, and they are going to mine buses to put explosives into buses that go to Ukrainian territory. Some media wrote that last night there was shelling and with the use of heavy artillery in Donetsk inside of the city. Do you have any information about that? As to provocations, yes, We receive operational information from our sources about enemies and also from local people, and they confirm that a lot of efforts are put in order to have as many provocations as possible with possible undermining vehicles with civilians and provocations during Easter near churches to celebrate that Christian holiday. That's why we started to warn people, and we educate local people, and we want them to be very careful to different items that can be used as explosive devices. And they should be very attentive because that would help our citizens to escape danger and to react to any possible mining or provocation that are prepared by militants. As soon as there is operational information about possible threats and if we get information about who can do that, women, children, we are trying to get the names, pictures, and then we put them on one list. And that information is on check points, and the people are arrested. So that work is done every day. But with that huge flow of information about possible provocations, that work will strengthen also. As to Donetsk, I'm not ready to tell you anything because our heavy artillery is not there. It is withdrawn according to Minsk agreements, and that's what the mission of OSCE says. If there is any explosion in Donetsk, that information should be verified. Well, that can be one of the elements of provocations of militants who are trying to accuse Ukrainian military men in disrupting Minsk agreements. Yesterday, you promised to give information about the number of Ukrainian military men who are missing. Do you have that information? Not yet. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.